Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CD Gallagher, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
A 5-3 Bears team finding ways to win no matter the circumstance, dealing with some injuries, of course, adding new pieces, and getting ready to take on a 2-7 Giants team Sunday at Soldier Field. We discussed tonight on Bears Weekly here on ESPN 1000 and the Chicago Bears Radio Network with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Got a loaded show tonight. Coordinator Thursday, of course. Defensive tackle Grady Jarrett conversation, and former Giants quarterback and Super Bowl winner Phil Simms joins the show, and we hear from running back coach Eric Bieniemy. Thanks to Dan Barilli, Jordan Tredup, and Katie Fox, our producer Kendra Smith in studio, and our executive producer of the Bears Radio Network, Eric Ostrowski. Tom, let's hit right to the injury report. What grabs you as you look at the injury report for Thursday? For me, it's a ton of Giants out.
Yeah, it's a ton of Giants out, but, Bear concern is T.J. Edwards. Even though that Noah Sewell has come in and played a really good brand of football at the linebacker position, and he is healthy, T.J. is one of my favorite guys on this defense, and I think he does a lot to help the defensive front seven. So him being in a DNP, which do not practice, has my concerns up. And then it's nice to see Kevin Byard coming back to work because he was DNP yesterday but limited today. And the rest of the guys, at this stage of the season, Jeff, even with the lengthy injury report for the New York Giants, kind of at a point in the season where there's going to be so much uncertainty week in and week out that you really don't know who's going to be on the field. It's almost kind of a wait and see for game day inactives, and we'll go from there.
Big time for the Foles today. Cole Kmet, after his concussion last week. Kyle Monangai was limited yesterday with an ankle. Amin Agbangbemega comes off the injured reserve list. They've waived Carl Jones, who's done a nice job on special teams, and DeAndre Swift, full go. So the backfield will be a full house, it looks like. Roshan also on his way back. He was limited, but he's coming back from a back injury.
I'm good to see all those guys because they play an important role, especially the offensive guys that you just brought up. And I think when you have more than one running back, it gives you a better opportunity to run the ball with some ferociousness and some freshness that can really affect this football team. What the offensive line has been doing in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think they're starting to complement each other really well. And, having Cole in the mix, as well as Colston Loveland did last week, I think it's important to have Cole aboard as well.
All right, let's listen in to some of the coordinators. Offensive coordinator Declan Doyle on Caleb's fourth quarters, the running game with Kyle Monangai, and a look at the Giants' defense. But first, the impact of Colston Loveland.
Since he's gotten here, obviously we didn't get to spend a ton of time with him in the offseason, but when he's been out there, he is a consummate professional. I really enjoy being around him. He has really grasped the offense, and I think he just continues to get better. I think Jim's done a great job with him just since he's been here. And, I know you guys have asked about him really every week, kind of when is he going to break out. And I think that's one of those things that it's a guy doing a lot of work, kind of behind the scenes. And when his number is called, he's ready for the moment. And he certainly was.
It's a lot of situational, obviously, those end of game drives for Caleb Williams. But the things that he does well, particularly well in those situations, how can you guys coach that to be more consistent throughout all 60 minutes?
Yeah, really, we would love to see that all the time in the game. But I think what makes him kind of special is in those moments where it kind of speeds up for everyone else, it doesn't really speed up for him. In some ways, it slows down. And so he has great poise in those moments. He has great leadership in those moments. Our guys feel really comfortable with him in those moments, and you're trying to extract that. And really, every single down, that really is his comfortability in the offense, the operation, what we're doing, and that just continues to grow and progress.
Declan, what extra dimension does Monangai bring to the running game? And why do you think what have you seen why the Giants have struggled in that phase of the game?
with Kyle's a really physical runner. He does everything we ask of him, and he tries to do it exactly the way we coach it. And so that's the number one thing about Kyle is how coachable he is, how willing he is to, kind of work through the corrections and things like that. EB does a great job of staying on him all the time, but really that physicality, that dimension of being able to drop his pads and run through somebody is really what we've enjoyed about having him here. I would say about New York, when you look at their talent level on defense, especially with the front, their record isn't very indicative of the talent level on the other side of the ball there. Burns is leading the league in sacks. He's done a good job. And, Thibodeau and Dexter inside, those guys are guys that provide challenges. But obviously, statistically, they haven't played quite as well as they probably would have liked to.
That's Declan Doe. Of course, Dexter is Dexter Lawrence.
Yep.
And, he's an important player, but he hasn't been playing in terms of the statistical impact like we've known in years past. How do you see it?
Well, just to summarize, so Colson Loveland, he's a major market player. He comes out of one of the biggest college conferences there are, so it's not a matter of if he can do it. It's when he can get involved in the mix after he recovered during training camp, and I think he's living up to his expectations. And then you think of Caleb Williams. He's not going to really necessarily be a finished product where you're saying, okay, we got him done, we're over the hump, everything's downhill from here. It's going to be a week-to-week operation with Caleb, and I think you got to be really encouraged by what he's doing. And then when you look at Kyle Monangai, the dude's a legit tough guy. You don't necessarily have to be a guy that's the biggest running back ever. You just have to have the best determination ever. And I think Kyle Monangai has proved that to everybody. And then when you talk about the front of the New York Giants, to me, this is going to be a 5-on-5 game. And I mean, it's going to be how the 5 offensive linemen can block the front 5 of the New York Giants. It is one of the most physical up-front teams that I've seen on tape. And you go back and you don't only watch their last game, you watch a couple tapes down the road and you see what these guys can do. They're athletic, they're big, they're strong, they're physical. So is the Bears' offensive line. And so I think it's going to be a matchup of a lifetime. I'm glad it's in Chicago. I'm glad it's on natural grass. And I'm glad the Bears are running the ball well. But we are going to learn a lot about the physicality of this team.
Quickly, Abdul Carter, only a half a sack. He is a very aggressive player, and he comes at you full speed.
You think of guys around the league. You think of a Micah Parsons, and you got to think of an Abdullah Carter. And your word, deployable. Yeah. He is, and he's not necessarily going to line up in the spot you expect him to be. He's going to line up in a spot where the defensive coordinator wants him to be.
All right, coming up next, the veteran defensive tackle Grady Jarrett from our player profile to be heard Sunday at 10:30 on Bears Game Day Live on Fox, but some of it right here on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Bears Weekly is back, and so are Tom Thayer and Jeff Joniak on ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. Had a chance to visit with veteran defensive tackle Grady Jarrett, a new free agent acquisition the Bears brought in from the Atlanta Falcons. You got the gift of gab, don't you? You're a conversationalist.
It's been developed. I was shot child, especially my first couple years in the league, too. I really wasn't as comfortable speaking in front of camera and stuff. And over time, I just got better and just kind of...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Shy.
Yeah, for sure. Shot child, for sure.
So if I invited you to a dinner party and you knew nobody, 12 people sitting at a dinner table, how would you be?
Oh, yeah, I could be good. Right now? Yeah. I'll be real good. Yeah, I'll be real good. I'm easy going, get into any kind of conversation and, make it make sense, so I won't embarrass you.
Yeah, no, you would not. You would not. Because I'm very similar. You invite me to your dinner party, I'm going to be a little quiet still. But
yeah, so we have a little decorum. But
yeah, exactly. Which leads me to this, because there's definitely a new vibe in this building.
Yes, sir.
And you could easily say, it's Ben Johnson. But it's also guys like Grady Jarrett.
Yes, sir.
And do you feel that you bring a vibe to the building?
Absolutely. I definitely think I do, and something I definitely don't take lightly. But it was definitely my intent coming to this program. I wanted to be somebody who more than just on the field play can be, a culture shifter. And that's just by going out and be my best self every day, and hopefully, influence the guys and people around me to, be better, And also just in the building, man, I'm somebody who people want to be around. You know what I'm saying? Like want to have good vibes with, you know what I'm saying, will be happy when they see each other at work, you know what I'm saying? So I think if everybody feeling good at work, we'll be able to get a better product done. But
you have been around some really terrific individuals that have come out of the National Football League, and I'm sure other walks of life as well. But your own father, Jesse Tuggle, was a 14-year NFL player. Used to hang out with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and still very close to them. They were mentoring you, clearly. Who are you mentoring on the Bears? I know that's important to you to mentor players. You did in Atlanta. Who are you already mentoring here?
I guess, I mean, I would say the guys in my room for sure, just being a vet in the room. Obviously, mentorship is something that's going to come, with the job, so how I go about my work, how I go about my business, how we study, how we want to play the game. That's a form of mentorship, that I spend with the guys, like Chris Williams, Javon Dexter, you know what I'm saying, guys like that. We spend a lot of time together. And as far as outside my room, I think somebody like Jaquan Brisker is somebody that I've grown a really, really good relationship with, really just as like a brotherhood. And my form of quote-unquote mentorship is really just, it's like brotherhood, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if I'm learning just as much as I'm giving game too. So it's always a two-way street with me. And so that's kind of what make it fun and natural. And, I'm always there if guys do, have a specific question or do need, guidance in a specific area. So that I always make myself available like that. But it's really organic, man. And but I learn just as much as I give. Yeah,
and I'm certain, too, you're a dog. You admit it. You got a dog in you. And you see the dog in others. You mentioned Brisker. He's got dog in him. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Do you attract to those types of
And I think that's why we click so much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why we click so much. You're able to turn it on, turn it off. But also, sometimes, you can't, if it ain't in there, you can't just go inject it in somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think like-minded individuals attract to each other a lot of times.
You're a giver.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, Grady Gives.
Yeah, Grady Gives. That's where I'm going. Grady Gives Foundation that you started in Atlanta, twice a Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominee, last year in Atlanta.
Yep.
I believe also in 2018.
Yep.
What is the essence of that foundation?
The essence of the foundation is really just helping people in need, man. I think when I came up with the name Grady Gives, because when I first started really getting into, off the field work, I was focused on just solely anti-bullying stuff, because back in 2015, there was a lot of, stuff going around the country, anti-bullying, kids struggling with it. So I'm like, what's a cause that I can really focus in on? It was anti-bullying, did a little couple of pep rallies at some middle schools, and just how we talk and treat people, stuff like that. And, but then as I got going and doing more things that the community relations departments would send us to, I just found a love for just, spreading love, whether it was kids, going through hard things, from things as, whether it be home displacement or kids as serious as things like pediatric cancer. Over, helping families get back on their feet through a house fire disaster, because I went through one myself, what I'm saying?
Draft day.
Yep. And
that's a whole nother story.
So just taking some of the lessons things that I had to go through in life, and try to just give back, but also some things that I didn't have to experience, because there's some dark things that people are really going through. And if my presence, or even if it ain't me specifically, even if it's just spending time with a NFL football player in somebody else's eyes and make their day better, I think it's worth it. So the essence of Grady Gives is just helping people, man.
Did you ever get bullied?
I don't think I got bullied much, but I also had a soft spot for I see kids get left out of groups on purpose, stuff like that, or people kids sometimes they just be me, excluding kids from certain stuff, or I ain't like to see people get picked.
Big men don't bully.
No, big men don't bully. Big men don't bully. They ain't supposed to.
No. Since you opened the door to that, the remarkable story for those who haven't followed all of your career, 5th round draft pick. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But 5th round draft pick, and your house caught on fire as you're getting the family together for the 2015 draft. I know it's a long story. Maybe you can just give a snippet of. Was that a bad omen for you? What's going on? It's draft day.
It was a bad day, man. So the first round of draft went by. The first night was obviously everybody think they going first round, so I was mad. Thought it was so second day come. So I talked to Coach Sweeney before the draft started. I talked to people, hey man, today's your day. Just enjoy the day, however it go. Second round, no way you get past the third round, whatever. All right, bet. So today we going. So we watching the draft, and so in a family kind of gathering room, And off this room is like a little upstairs little area or whatever. And I don't know if it's like a little power trip or something, but whatever, little fire started up there. And we started because we like smelled something, but the kitchen right here, so ain't nothing coming out the kitchen. So so by the time one of the family members go up, check, see what's going on, they're like, oh, like a little wall was on fire. So it kind of got people at the house, people trying to put it out. But once it caught that wall, man, it was kind of all she wrote. And it was lucky that I only lost half of the house due to like the fire people broke it down for us. Why I didn't take the whole thing, so that was just good. So we built that house back up, and it's really beautiful now in our hometown. But it was just it was just a time like, and the whole time through that with the fireman, I'm watching my phone like trying to see if it's gonna ring and stuff like that. And by the time the end of the third round coming, Cleveland Browns about to like pick, and they got like the last pick or some third round. They take a defensive tackle. And I'm like, bro, what the heck? I still didn't get drafted. This is going on. So I slam my phone on. So I'm like, flustered and stuff. So the next day, day 3 of the draft, we go out to a family member house, which was a town over called Covington from Conyers, and watched the draft there. And until I got picked, and it was emotional when I got picked. But to be able to go back to Atlanta, was my hometown, was awesome. Be able to stay close.
Your mom, Alicia, was trying to calm your nerves. She wrote pick number 105 on a piece of paper, Falcons.
Yeah, she did.
She knew.
Yeah, she got that intuition, yeah, for sure. So I think they ended up taking Justin Hardy with that specific pick. But I was
traded with the Vikings.
Yeah, we traded with the Vikings, and then they came and got me first pick in the 5th round. Yep. So I mean, that was just that was a blessing in itself.
Is that always in the back of your mind, even 10 years later?
I mean.
Or is it in the forefront of your mind 10 years later?
No, it's always there. It's always there. Not, I wouldn't say in the forefront, but it's one of those subconscious things that when you think about like drive and like why you go so hard, like I wouldn't, like if you asked me today, like what's your drive, that I probably wouldn't even have brought that up. But it's like in me, you know what I'm saying, thinking that I've been through, like what, like traumatic or stuff like that do push me like subconsciously, like, and so things like that, I just never let bad things define me, like bad moments. I just know there's going to be a good ending off the other side of it.
We also should remind people, and I was at the game. It's a sore spot, I know, for any Falcon, but you sacked Tom Brady 3 times in the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Did you feel like you were on another planet at that moment?
I feel like I was outside of my body. Like, like it really felt like it was like an outside of the body moment.
I mean, really?
Yeah, I mean, even just playing in the Super Bowl, when you doing the pre-walk, and they got all the players on the big jumbotrons, you see a name up there, like, and it's like, dang, like I'm really here. But then to go have a big game like that was awesome, man. But yeah, I mean, obviously, sore spot like we didn't win the game, and the fact that the type of way we lost as well. But there's so much, lessons in that for just on the wrong side of it as a winner or loser. But I mean, to be able to even have that opportunity to play in a game like that is a blessing in itself.
Yeah. Are there things that when this team starts winning that you'll be able to convey to these guys? Because there's, Joe Toney's been and won. Not many in that room have been to a Super Bowl. Not many in that room have won in their careers. You have a lot to tell them?
Yeah, I think so. Even more from the experiences just from the Super Bowl. I mean, just throughout my whole career so far, having seasons that were really successful and having seasons that were struggling, but still, try to put your best foot forward. I think I got a really good range of experiences and wisdom to share, and I could just feel a lot of different vibes and see a lot of things happening before we happen. So kind of mitigate the bad and try to increase the good when those things do come up. Coming to a city that want to win, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the cultureship. I'm not coming to Chicago just to pass through. Like, I want to be able to leave legacy here, be able to be a part of something special, to where when I do always come back to the city, they can know that I was a part of something big, part of something special.
You want to leave a mark.
I want to leave a mark.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Have you checked out the water yet here?
Checked out the water.
Yeah, because you're a water guy in the Georgia lakes, but we got the big lake.
Yeah, y'all got the big lake.
So you've been out there?
Yeah, I've been out there.
Boat, jet ski, what do you got?
It could get as choppy as it do out there.
Hey.
I mean, my goodness.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, you got to go on a good day, though. But I mean, it's beautiful, though. But to see that city skyline from the water from a nice boat, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah, you got to agree. Chicago, especially in the summer, underrated.
Oh man,
raw beauty, beautiful.
Oh man, even the rivers flowing through the city. I mean, you can't beat that. It's super underrated. It's like America's best kept secret.
Yeah, well, ain't no secret here.
Yeah, ain't no secret here. But coming from where I come from,
right? Exactly. Last question: what do you see already within your team that we don't know?
That you guys don't know. This team got a lot of resilience, man. There's some tough dudes in this building, and I think we hungry. We hungry, and I think the way we're gonna play the game is going to continue to show for itself, and it's going to turn for us in the right way. And I think we're going to be able to outlast a lot of people and do the things we need to do to be where we need to be at the end. So, and we a team full of belief, man. We're a team full of belief. I know outside looking in, it may be hard to tell certain this and that, but we a team. We got full of belief in each other, and we coaches that's leading us, stuff like that. And I think that's really the key, and everybody want to win bad, but you got to go out there and execute. You got to go earn it, and we're willing to do what it takes to do that.
We'll have more here on Bears Weekly after this break on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly, a Chicago Bears production on the flagship home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Jeff and Tom with you on Bears Weekly. Love the interview with Grady Jarrett. Just a great influence in the locker room. I love that he's mentoring. I love that he wants to be here, and this is an important stage of his career, and he's battling through his own sore knee, but continues to get out there. He was a full go at practice here on Thursday. All right, time to look a little deeper into the Bears defense, Tommy, as Dennis Allen's crew still trying to figure out a bunch of stuff. Now with the injuries and the constant change at defensive end, you bring in, and you're going to call him Joe Tyron Shainka is going to be called
Joe T.
Nice and simple. I met him in the locker room today, and I said, hey, how do you properly say your name? He goes, let's hear you first, how you do it. Sure, I'll mess it up a time or two, but you will like this guy. He's a wonderful young man. He's a big dude now. He's fit and ready to go.
He made a good impression on me the very first time I saw him play, and that was his rookie year. And I said, wow, this guy's got a tremendous upside. He's an athlete. If you allow him to be in an attackable position, he can win the battle at the line of scrimmage. He's versatile enough to move around. So I'm excited to see how Dennis Allen and the defensive coaches here figure where his place is going to be.
All right, let's hear some of Dennis Allen as he discusses Montez Sweat, the new addition, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
I mean, he was doing some good things before, and yet, he wasn't getting all the, as many of the stats. And now you start to see that happen just a little bit more. I think he's been performing really well for us all around, run game, passing game. So it's good to see him get the stats to go along with that. A lot of times there's some hidden production. But it's been nice to see. I think he's winning a little bit more, and I think this. Look, he's starting to get a feel for and accustomed to how we're going to play. Some of the things that we're asking him to do, how we want to play against the run, how we want to be able to rush the passer, and I still think there's a lot of meat left on the bone in terms of what we can get out of that. So. Halfway through the season, starting to see some of that production accelerate just a little bit, and hopeful that that growth will continue.
You lose Dio Odengbo, but they bring in Joe. Like, how do you kind of make that adjustment this week?
Well, look, I mean, anytime you lose a guy, there's an adjustment that has to happen, and we just got Joe in yesterday. He worked yesterday. He'll be out there again today. I like some of the things that I see from him. I had an opportunity to go against him a lot, in the NFC South, and so I'm pretty familiar with the player. I think he's smart. I think he's got, good athleticism, good length, and I think he's a guy that, he's played a lot of football. He's played, championship football. He's been a part of that type stuff there in Tampa. So. We're excited about the addition, and we'll see what that role is as we go forward. But I'm glad we got him.
How did you think that Gardner-Johnson played for trying to pick things up on the fly?
Yeah, I was pleased with the way that he played. There's some things that we can work on to still try to improve. But it was good to see there was a lot of recall in terms of, when he was with me previously in New Orleans. He had pretty good recall in terms of what we're asking him to do. This guy's a football player. He's got good instincts. He's tough. He can fit in the box. He can play out, in coverage. And so I think that's a good pickup.
A lot of great things there from Dennis Allen. You could hear his excitement a little bit. But I want to start with C.J. Gardner-Johnson before we talk about the defensive line, because when you hear a coach talk about a guy being a football guy,
right,
they love football guys. Now, you know what a football guy is. I have a general sense, the average person, when a coach talks about a football guy, first thing I think of, I trust him.
For a guy that is being defined as a football guy, I like the swagger that he brings along. And I think the longer he's here, and Dennis said he's only been here about 10 days, the louder his message will come in the locker room. And I think that his type of energy is contagious. And I think that's something that the back end of this football team needed and could use from a guy like Gardner-Johnson. Their familiarity with each other because they've been in the same system, I think, is really important, because I think you can fill Gardner-Johnson's plate a little bit sooner than you could if a guy was just coming aboard for the first time. And then you think about the importance of his position and how it affects this defense when you're talking about the multiple fronts that Dennis likes to play, but you can only play multiple fronts if you have the proper additives in the back end of the defense.
All right, on the front end of the defense, he's really loving up Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat in the locker room today, big smile on his face. I think he's feeling he's in a really good spot right now.
Well, that's the thing about Montez Sweat is, you're always going to say, how many sacks did Montez Sweat have at the end of the game? And he said a lot of times what they do good is lost in the numbers, because Montez Sweat, if you go out there and you take up a tackle on a tight end, how quickly is the tackle made behind you? Because you're accounting for two offensive blockers. In some times, when you talk about the dirty work on offense, that's the dirty work of a defensive lineman. So, it may not show up on the stat sheet, but it shows up in the ultimate performance of the defense.
We mentioned the defensive line, the new addition, but I got to bring up Austin Booker. He looks like a different person body-wise, but I think Dennis feels there's more room to grow there in terms of getting stronger and more physical. Would you say that's I guess more the strength part of it, not the physical part, because he is a physical player.
Okay, the first thing they asked Austin Booker to do in the offseason was to add some size and add some strength, and that's obvious. It's evident. And I think that's one of the important keys that they figured, okay, Austin is willing to do this. Now let's take what he's willing to do and translate this into what you can do on the field. And when you go out and you watch him warm up like he was doing the other day behind us, or you watch him in training camp practices warm up, he's got a variety of skills. And I think when you get these defensive line coaches here, defensive coordinators, it's their ability to observe and sharpen those skills. So I expect to see a lot more out of Austin Booker. The thing that I was really encouraged about, what's the best way to pass rush against Orlando Brown, who's 6'8", 350? It's stab him with one hand right in the middle of the chest, get him off balance, disengage, and sack. Perfect. You could go out and you could put that on a highlight demonstration film.
All right, that's Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Coming up next, our visit with Phil Simms, the legendary quarterback of the New York Giants. That's next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
This is ESPN Chicago, WNVP, WTBC, HD2 Chicago, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer chatting about the Bears. It must be Bears Weekly.
Well, if it's Bears Weekly,
it must be the home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit Athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. With Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak. Coming up this week, we dropped a podcast with Phil Simms on our Bears Etc. episode 184. 39 years ago, led the Giants to their first ever Super Bowl title. His second act as a visible figure in broadcast media. Has been a longtime analyst with CBS. on their number one broadcast crew before moving on to some college football now. Does a podcast with his son Matt called Sims Complete. His other son Chris pairs with Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk. So this former number 7 pick overall in 1979 by the Giants grew into a NFL Man of the Year, 2-time Pro Bowler, a member of the Giants Ring of Honor, and is number 11 retired in the Giants' great history. And a great conversation about a lot of things, including the few times he played the Chicago Bears.
They were all torture, And Richard Dent hated me, so he always seemed to get a personal foul, hitting me late, and he didn't care. He hit me once in the game, that night game in 1992, I think it was, and he was laying on top of me. For some reason, just before he hit me, I kind of threw it like as quick as I could to the corner of the end zone, and it was a touchdown. And he's laying on top of me, and I said, "You having a good time, big guy?" He goes, "Man, I'm having a great time."
Did you get a crank call before a Bears game?
Yeah, before the playoff game.
But the story that I read, and the caller said your dad just passed away.
Oh, I started calling everybody I knew, my mom, my brothers, my sisters. I couldn't get anybody. Finally, one answered. I don't know which brother it was. And he goes, "Well, no, I'm here in the hotel. I saw Dad today." And I go, "Well, check, find out." Somebody told me whatever. So I found out, but it took a while.
That's mean. That's mean, Tommy. That's mean.
Yeah, it is.
Yikes.
Right, that's when we had the rotary dial phones in our hotel room, and people would weirdly call your hotel room once they found out where you're staying. And you get teams that are historically as famous as the Giants back then. It wasn't uncommon for them to do it to the Giants or guys on the Bears as well. I think about Parcells and Ditka. Could they coach in today's NFL? Are their personalities too tough?
I love this question. I don't know Mike Ditka well enough and wasn't around him long enough to know, but I got the feeling of who he really is just by watching the team, seeing some of his talks, watching with the press. So I think he could. With Bill Parcells, I have no doubt he would coach now and be as good as he ever was. Of course, if he still had the injury or the stamina, I guess he's in his 80s. But, yeah, his way – when you think about it, I always say this to people, he was rough. We practiced every day. And I really mean this. For 8 years, it was the most important thing of our life that day. And, man, the pressure was unrelenting. But he knew how to, when he needed to talk to you in a certain way to kind of get you off the cliff, help you play better on the field, all those things. He could do it. And but overall, he was extremely tough. It was always, we could win the damn game. Okay, we beat the 49ers 49-3 in a playoff game. The next morning, we're sitting there. I'm thinking he'll come in, say some good stuff. We'll, go on. He comes in, throws his pad down. He goes, "Offensive line, almost got my quarterback killed." Rah. And then he rips us. And then he walks out. And you go, that was Bill. Well, he was not going to let us get satisfied with anything ever.
To give you a comparative story, the first game I ever started for Mike Ditka was against the Washington Redskins, and I was playing against Dave Butts. Right. We were winning by 40 points. In the fourth quarter, I get a holding call, and he pulls me.
Oh, wow. That's pretty rough.
Pulls me out of the game, brings me to the sideline, just berates me on the sideline like I had no idea, keeps me out for 2 plays, and puts me back in.
You know what? It was a quick learning lesson, It's Bill didn't have that book they put out on how to treat the quarterback and what to do. People will walk the sidelines and he would just, he would bench them and just say, even Lawrence Taylor, somebody better get their head out of their rear end. And Lawrence is walking by him and go, "Wow, good Lawrence." Bill's an equal opportunity yell guy. He took it out. And he would say things to me. One time I was playing so bad, a game against Kansas City in 1984. We're down 13 points. I walk off the field. I just threw my third interception. And he goes, "Sims, come here." And, I think I'm going, he's just going to 4-letter word me to death. He goes, "Ron Earhart, the offensive coordinator upstairs, we were just talking. Are you watching the same game we're watching?" and I go just like this. I go, "That's a good one." And I just kept walking. And, the great thing was he did it with 6 minutes to go. We got the ball 2 times and drove 80 and 77 yards to win the game. So He goes, yeah, I had to tell him who to throw it to. But, there's so many stories I could say about Bill. He was a great leader of men. He really had a great pulse for the players, what to do. And when we played teams that were inferior to us in periods, he would be brutal that week because he just knows emotionally, I'm going to get up to play the Bears and the Cowboys and the 49ers, but we're playing the Arizona Cardinals. He would just be a monster during the week. And it's, to make sure there was no letdown.
You have to be one of the thickest skinned people on the planet because here you get drafted, and in New York, as every draft pick almost gets booed, the selection was booed.
Yeah.
They had aspirations of someone else, I'm sure. And then to play for that coach and the constant threat of getting pulled, the coach is yelling at you, that gives license for every fan and media person to yell at you. How did you handle all that? And at some point, did you have quiet moments to yourself shaking your head? What have I gotten into here?
No. Well, first off, I never got pulled. When I was healthy, I played and all that, which is a good thing, So I've talked to a few quarterbacks that are hurt and over the years, and some maybe this year, and I just go, you want your team to win, but you don't want the backup to play very well.
Yeah.
It's been, but people say that to me all the time. You hung in there. I go, what do you mean? I dreamed about it my whole damn life. You think I'm going to let an injury or something that's whatever, stop me from doing what I want to do? And probably the only good decision I made playing when it was after 93 was over, we had a good year, went to the playoffs. We were expected to be horrendously bad. It was Dan Reeves' first year there. They let me go, and really just because of salary cap. That was it. And I probably would have tried to play. I wanted to play 2 more years. And I look back and go, man, it's a good thing they let me go because I would just have more aches and pains if I had played 2 more years. So,
Phil, when you take salary ramifications out of the thinking about it and the modern day reality for a young quarterback, are you a play right away guy, or are you have a couple of years to get acclimated into your system, into the NFL life, and then play? Because as you look at Caleb Williams and first pick in the draft, or you look at what the Packers have done with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, as a quarterback, what's your take on that?
Man, I'm the opposite of the Green Bay method. I mean, if you got a quarterback that's that good and great, okay, you can kind of finagle that and do it. But Caleb Williams, I wanted him to play the very first snap in the first game of his career. And that's the way you do it. You're not going to, the more throws he gets and the more time he gets on the field, the better he is going to get. And we're seeing some signs of that about him. I watched every one of his games, and I wrote a lot of notes about him. What's good, what's bad. There's easy reads. You miss the easy read. Throw it to the guy. It's open quick. Lots of things. But if we redrafted the quarterbacks in that draft again, I said it even last year when the year was over, I still would take Caleb Williams. Big, strong, great arm, very mobile. I mean, man, and hasn't gotten hurt. There's a lot of things there, and I think he's going to continue to get better. And I even saw some moments in the game this past week where I went, wow, that was a pass. See, there's a difference in the NFL, or you want both. You want a guy that can just turn the heat up, and you want a guy that's a passer too that can react. And that means throwing it a little softer, using your body more, and making the ball go up and down the way you want it to go. And Caleb, I think one of his little things he's got to get over, man, he's like the golfer who can hit 350 yards. He wants to hit it 350. But the problem is when it goes off line, it goes way off line, and that's trouble. So I think his future is bright. The Bears picked the right guy, and I love watching him, and I write a lot of things down about him too, that's for sure. But I think he's getting better.
This may be as obvious as anything I'll ever leave my mouth, but do you believe constant change is the greatest demon for young quarterbacks?
Hey, the demon is many things right now. And, yeah, a lot of change is not going to progress as fast as if it's the other way. But the play calling, I think the scrutiny on quarterbacks, it's unbelievable. It goes week to week. Oh, they might have to bench him. Oh, he stinks. Da, da, da. And you have to have a Super Bowl title behind your name before they give you respect. And here's what sums it up. How's Sam Darnold doing?
Yeah.
How's Baker Mayfield doing? And even, Geno Smith until this year. But we got more of those guys in the league who now we're looking at them and going, wow, they're really good. Well, they were really good as young players too, but the coaching stunk around them. The system didn't fit who they are. And you didn't really give them a chance to have success with a unit that was good enough to get something done. I mean, come on. It's not. There's more quarterbacks. I was writing it down, and I kind of forgot a few names. And I'll say this. The league is quarterback rich, and it's just going to get richer next year and probably the year after. The quarterbacks in college, and I see everywhere, man, it's truly unbelievable. There's a lot of good ones.
How do you feel about Jackson Dart?
Oh, I don't like him. I love him. Damn.
you scared me for a second. I like this player too, man. He's exciting.
He's just got it. He's got that swag or whatever. It's just natural. And I watched him all during training camp. I do a little work for the Giants during that period. So I'm down there. The first day I went, I think I was expecting more than just what I saw in practice. And then truly every day after that, I go, man, this SOB is good. And, he practiced like it was a game every day. So he would drop back, and if nobody was open, he would run. And, a lot of times they say, oh, don't run, stay in there, make the throw, whatever. No, he was playing the game every day, and it shows when you watch him play now. He's really personality, works hard, very mobile, and he has a really good NFL arm. And already he's a thrower and a passer. He can do both.
All right, fun conversation. You can get the entirety. It's a good 30-minute interview with Phil Simms. Tom, you were loving that conversation, especially the day because you guys crossed paths, and, boy, he took some beatings over the years.
He played in one of the most physical era of quarterback football that you could possibly play in, and he had a no-nonsense coach that wouldn't accept a lot of fancy. He wanted to be physical. And so you talk about Phil Simms, the success he had with Bill Parcells. It was a great matchup, but he challenged Phil Simms to become the quarterback he became.
We could have got into a very deep conversation about Caleb Williams. He really likes Caleb. He had specific plays that he was going to discuss. We just didn't have the time to do it. But I was really encouraged by what he had to say because he tells it like it is. He doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Listen, he was specifically time-coding plays for us to go back and look at and had some, it was more complimentary than anything else about where Caleb's going. So I hope that we get to interview him again down the road when Caleb's got some time under center.
Yeah, it was a specific play. He said if he
4:45 in the third quarter, if you go and look at this play specifically.
Yeah, but then he said if he continued to use that, look out.
Yep.
Look out. All right, that's Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak. One segment to go with Tom's thoughts and Eric Bieniemy coming up next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. Jeff and Tom at our final segment. We'll get Tom's thoughts in a minute, but had a chance with the offensive coaches, the assistants available today. Catch the tail end of some time with Eric Bieniemy. His topic is the running game and now number 2 in the NFL in rushing yards. Rushing yards per game. Attempts are way up there, so this is a team that wants to do this. 144.4 yards per game, nearly 30 attempts per game, 4.91 attempt on average, and then 5.23 on first down, 39 runs of 10+. That's number 1 in the league. So the Bears are really making some hay, and Eric Bieniemy charts the course of some of the reasons why. It's just not the backs, but it's everybody.
The offensive line did an outstanding job of coming off the ball, and then on top of that, receivers and tight ends did a great job of impacting the run game as well. And we understand that as a group, things don't happen unless everybody's all in. And I think we're learning how to be accountable to one another. And like I said, when those times present itself, we got to make a big third down play in the passing, in the pass game. They got to do their part as far as backs are concerned, as picking up the blitz and understanding of who they got and making sure we're doing a great job protecting the quarterback. And they understand that as well. So right now, I think we're hitting our stride, but still today is Thursday. Got a lot of work to do today, got a lot of work to do tomorrow, and then basically summarize everything up on Saturday and let the chips fall where they fall on Sunday.
EB, when you're installing a new offense here, and you guys at the midway point ranking, the top 5 or 6 in points and yards, does that proof of concept help you teach, help the players buy in? It appears that the stuff works.
Well, and I'll say this, yes, it does. It helps to build confidence, okay? But just like you said, it's only week 8.
Yes.
And I say this, and I always caution our guys, we have to learn how to live in the moment. Everybody's going to pat you on the back when everything is going good. All right, just go out there and screw something up, you slip and fall and do something wrong, they own you. But it's a part of the week-to-week story. So right now the story is that, hey, yeah, we're doing good. But now we got to make sure we can put consistent behavior on tape each and every week. And so that's what this is about now. And once you figure that out, now you become a mature football team that can handle the good, the bad, the highs and the lows. And that's what we're basically growing. And so we just got to continue to maintain focus. We got to continue to live in the moment. And like I said, today is Thursday. We got a lot of work to do today.
Do you see a lot of Monangai in you and vice versa? And not just the height, but just the style?
You know what? And I'll say this. When I had an opportunity to watch Kyle, he reminded me of someone, and not myself. He reminds me of Kareem Hunt. So, and watching him and studying him on tape and going back to my days of reviewing tape on Kareem, those two were very, very similar. And so, that's the person that I see now. He has a lot to live up to because Kareem has had an outstanding career. And but the kid takes a tremendous amount of pride in the little things. So that's important. Now we just got to continue to grow.
And he protects the football. Never gives it up. He didn't in college, not one time in over almost 700 attempts, Tommy.
That's right. I'm knocking on wood. I think that these guys got a good understanding of exactly what they were looking at on tape when they went through the evaluation process, and he hasn't let them down. And more for us as observers, he hasn't let us down at all either. And I'm excited to see what this future holds for him, the position, and the running game as a whole.
All right, you got any Tom's thoughts for us today, buddy?
I do. The number one is you got to hit the bullseye. You know what I mean by that? What do you throw? What do you throw? If
Darts.
There you go.
All right.
Jackson Dart. He's the leading passer and he's leading rusher of this football team.
Yeah.
You cannot let him have a day because that means in 2 portions of an offense that he's going to have an effect on the offense. So, to me, you got to hit the bullseye. And I'm not, saying it meanly or anything. I'm just because his last name is Dart.
Okay, I'm not going to guess.
Dahlman and Dexter.
Okay.
Because if you're going to watch the game and how this offense performs, I remember when we would play the Philadelphia Eagles and Reggie White would line up on the center, Jay Hilgerberger would always say, you make sure you give me a hand before you do your own job. I think a lot of it has to do the same. Dexter's going to line up on the center a lot. And so when you have a guy that size with that type of strength, the offensive guard's got to be the best friend. So that DD battle is going to really have outcome. It's going to be
It's going to be a big part, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a decider in this game. My third thing is crossing route concern. I think when you look at the Bears and some of the success that teams have had against them, it has more to do with crossing routes because of the time or the quarterback that they're playing with. It's not so much Joe Flacco. He was looking at man coverage, throwing it downfield, and letting his accuracy decide the fate. When you're bringing in a young quarterback like Jackson Dart, it is about crossing routes. And so the Bears' defensive backfield, and I think it's helped with Gardner Johnson here. So let's limit the success of crossing routes and see how this defense can work it out on Sunday.
All right, that's going to wrap things up. Thanks to everybody for listening. The executive producer of the Bears Radio Network, Eric Ostrowski. Thanks to Kendra Smith in the ESPN studios and our guests this week, including Phil Simms and Grady Jarrett. This has been Bears Weekly on the radio, home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. ESPN's Amber and Ian are next. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the Mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.